everybody. Welcome to Fight Night Radio. Lee Hanish, Andrew Labouche, Miguel Antonio Barragan is unable to join us. He poked his eye out in a horrible masturbatory session that can only be described as spectacular. Somehow a rope shot out, went up under his eyelid, had to be removed, created scar tissue. I think that's what the text said, Andrew. I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I think you're a little off on that, Lee, but
Am I? Okay. Well, he's not able to join us. Hopefully he will come over here to the studio on Saturday. We're going to just talk about the fights that are going on this weekend. We'll cover all the stories, including Adrian Broner and Terrence Crawford and Black Boxing Promotion. And I can't make that up. BLK. If BLK isn't black, then I don't know what they're going for letter-wise. Nothing wrong with BLK Entertainment as a name. It's another group. It's another thing. Andrew and I were just talking about it. We'll save it for Sunday. It's probably a 20-minute discussion all by itself. So there's your teaser for this weekend. We did want to get you all fired up for this weekend. It is another epic Super Saturday, Andrew. What are you doing Saturday?
I don't know. I won't be getting the pro grade fight. I know that. I'm not buying that pay-per-view. I know I'm not buying Silva versus.
Well, as we've always explained,
Super Saturday for me, Lee.
As everyone is aware, or not aware, we often explain to you guys about going to VIProw.net. I'm not saying that it gets used frequently by the staff on this show. It just does. So let's go through all the fights that you have for the weekend and break them down one by one. There is boxing on Friday on ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus, Andrew, has apparently discovered I can only describe as backwoods boxing. Last Saturday, when we had no boxing this past weekend, they managed to find a fight in what I can only describe as a high school gymnasium during the middle of the day with some of the former, I don't even know how to describe what I was watching. And I'm not even sure why ESPN put it on. It all seemed to be one promoter. And it did appear to be that one promoter seemed to be an MTK guy. And I'm not saying there's a tie to MTK, but it looks like another MTK guy who's handling European fighters might be working for Top Rank, but we can discuss that at a later date. Friday night on ESPN Plus, or Friday during the day more than likely, from Italy, Guido the Killer Pimp takes on a guy named Jay McFarland. I don't know why it's being televised, don't know why it's on ESPN Plus, but it is.
Guido is either a popular name or the same fighter, but we've said that.
It is. It's Guido. It's Guido Vianiello. I just like using, and for anybody, you can put in the comments or send us an email or go to Facebook and let us know if you know who Guido the Killer Pimp is, and you're old enough to know who Guido the Killer Pimp is. Hint, it's a tie-in to Tom Cruise. There you go, one of his first movies. All right, let's talk about Saturday. Let's take these in no particular order because they're all over the place when it comes to fights. Let's start with DAZN in London. That'll be during the day. Katie Taylor is taking on Karen Elizabeth Carbajal, 10 rounds for Taylor's unified titles. The girls are stepping up, and here we are once again, main event, Andrew, and this one is once again at the O2. Katie Taylor this time defending her 4 belts for the women's lightweight title.
Yeah, going up against the undefeated girl, Karen Carbajal, 19-0, coming off the biggest win of her career. Yeah, she's going to capitalize here. I'm telling you, I think one of these girls are going to take the trophy. It's either going to be Clarissa, and Katie Taylor is definitely in the talks because of this Serrano, just how many eyes watched the Serrano fight. This girl right here is 19-0-2, so she doesn't have a lot of power, but definitely another undefeated record would always look good on yours, right? On your resume going for Fighter of the Year.
And it increases her Playboy request when the time comes for Katie. I don't know if anybody's paying to see Clarissa. I'm just wondering why somebody hasn't made an offer for the top 5 or 10 female boxers. I would certainly buy an issue of the top 10 female boxers.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough money. I don't know if there's enough money, Lee. That's probably where I'm going to just leave it at that.
All right, so let's just say this, since we're both married and we get in severe trouble for this, but let's just say I win $300 million again. Isn't it worth offering each one $1 million for a spread?
No.
What, you don't think I can sell 10 million copies?
No. Nope.
All right. They'll have to do movies as well with each other. That's just life. I'll find a way to get my money back. And if you're wondering,
I was trying to put the fire out, and you just started a big. All right, we'll make movies now.
Yeah, we'll make movies. We'll go into production. There is nothing else on that fight card worthwhile. So if you're going to start watching on the West Coast at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, this is a complete shit show of a card with a bunch of people you've never heard of fighting a bunch of people named Tubba.
So it's
I've never seen so much on one's card, Andrew.
The same DAZN card as always. You got the main event and a bunch of other shit you don't really know.
The second one up in the slightly shitty cards for the weekend would be the Jake Paul Anderson Silva card on Showtime pay-per-view. Pay-per-view, Andrew. Paul versus Silva is pay-per-view. And the only reason I'm interested in it is actually a cruiserweight fight between Chris Avila and Michael Varshosky. You're going to say, who the hell are they? Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah. Yes, I was.
All right. For those who don't know who Mikhail, he's Russian, actually. He's Dr. Mike. He's actually a doctor who does a huge YouTube channel who's been training for the better part of a couple of years to have a pro debut. And he did it legitimately, and he's talked about it on his channel. And he did it the real way, Andrew. He just happens to have a massive YouTube following doing a thing called Ask Dr. Mike. So I'll be interested to see how a guy does with a couple of years of training. I've got a feeling I know how it's going to be when he gets hit legitimately. Well,
as long as it's real, yeah. I have a feeling.
No, but you know what? And the one thing they never look, you can train for a year or two and become a pro fighter. That's not a hard trick. Okay, take it from me. It's not a hard trick. Matchmaking. Matchmaking's everything. But the reality of getting hit for real by someone who wants to knock you out. Woo, that's a step up into the big leagues, kid. It's ended a lot of careers.
Like, hopefully they took a page out of the Katie Taylor fight and, get a girl with 19 victories and 2 knockouts.
Yes, and hopefully they didn't get the boxing trainer who taught Ronda Rousey how to box. So he's probably got a better shot than that. The other one that's interesting on this, and I could be completely wrong, maybe there are more than one person named Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, can I just say it again?
Yes,
Le'Veon Bell taking on Uriah Hall in a 4-round cruiserweight co-main event. The Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, he just knocked out Adrian Peterson.
Wow.
Two running backs. Yep.
That's crazy to me. Wow.
Le'Veon Bell, I think they were both in trouble with the law. Yeah, it was like a fight of the bad boys, and because we all know Peterson had the trouble with the children. He got caught whipping one of his kids with the whip. So I think a lot of people were happy when he got knocked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Again, wow. And that takes us to our main event, Jake Paul taking on Anderson Silva. Does Anderson Silva have enough boxing to beat Jake Paul? I am going to excuse beating Chavez Jr. because God knows Chavez Jr. probably didn't train, was probably high on ecstasy minimum, and it still went the entire distance, but Anderson Silva did win the fight. Does Anderson Silva have enough boxing skill to beat Jake Paul?
I'm interested in this fight. I don't think I'm going to order it. I probably will be trying to find it somewhere on
VIProw.net. Is that what you're trying? Yes.
Yes, most likely. But I am interested because, it matters what kind of Silva, what Silva's coming to the ring, Lee. If the guy's coming here, look, George St. Pierre is supposed to be in the ring, supposed to be commentating.
Yep.
You know, if he's looking to go further in his career, yeah, I'm definitely scared if I'm Jake Paul. Jake Paul's cool and all, man, but the Spider is something else. He's old, but you know, they know the tricks of the game, man. These guys, they still spar. They still know how to stretch themselves out. You know, if Jake Paul doesn't know how to break down a fighter as well conditioned as what Anderson Silva probably will be going into the ring, because he is a professional. No, my money's going to go hard on Silva in this one. You know, Paul, I've never been a fan of what he's doing, even though I've given him respect, or I guess credit is a better word. Credit because he's at least trying to pick up his opposition. He went to the heavyweight, that fell through. Anderson Silva, to me, is not a bad drop off. Look, the guy was in kickboxing. Am I correct with that, Lee? Kickboxing?
Yes, you are. He's a kickboxer.
All right. So he's a kickboxer. See, he definitely knows how to strike. He knows how to throw a legit punch. We know what he did in the UFC, even though boxing is not the UFC. I'm leaning more on his kickboxing background, that he's going to land the punches that are going to really test Jake Paul's chin on this night.
Yeah, I think there's a big note. I've got to pick up the slack since Miguel lost his eye in the bad masturbatory situation. We just recently had a UFC, and the thing I kept watching repeatedly last weekend, these guys don't move their head. Like, no. Put a line across the ring and bob your head up. Like, they all walk down that straight line, Andrew. Like, they all just stick their head out and they come straight down the line. Anderson Silva, being with that boxing background, totally different, right? He's got that side-to-side head movement. He's a lot. If you look at the champions, even in the UFC, that have real backgrounds or that have worked with Roach, they got head movement. They're not going to leave their head out in the middle of nowhere for people to tee off on. And if Jake thinks he's going to get a guy that, because he's fought pretty prototypical guys who just leave their head out there to get knocked into next week, right?
I hear you.
That's not an Anderson Silva thing. This dude moves his head. And that's going to be different for Jake Paul. I'm sure he sparred with real guys. I've heard all the stories. I've seen all the videos.
You know, what's funny though, Lee, is they don't show him sparring with a lot of real fighters out there. So I don't.
They're just reports. They're always reports of I sparred with so and so.
That guy's so ego driven though. You'd think he would be putting videos up. You know what I mean? Like you think. I don't know. Jake Paul just seems like if it was out there, he would be videotaping it and getting views off of it. Yeah, I'm interested. It comes down to Silva, how bad Silva wants it. Because Lee, I'm going to tell you, this man is a champion. Like he might be a little offended. It might be something that he doesn't really get until he gets in the ring, looks across and sees a kid's trying to use him for his popularity, and then goes, "All right, I'm gonna fucking test him. Let's test him." Right? He can't do it for the whole fight. First 3 minutes, first 6 minutes, you better watch out, man. Hopefully this is not a fix, dude. You know, it's
they've all kind of looked like that. I mean, I've watched a lot of people who I thought had enough skill and brains. Just, here's an extra million. Just before you look, I've fallen prey to this too, right? You're walking out to the ring and somebody whispers in your ear, "Hey, you're throwing this fight." What do you mean? Well, it's $1 million. Ooh. I mean, $1 million is life-changing for Anderson Silva. It is.
I thought his life was changed, though. I thought the UFC did that because, man, we're talking about one of the highest earners in that sport. I'm hoping it's not that, man. That's going to be a big letdown if this is a fixed fight.
Well, I've decided I'm going out to Glendale, Arizona for this fight, Andrew, and I'm going to challenge the winner of the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight or the Dr. Mike fight. I might want to start smaller here, since Dr. Mike will more than likely have to be my doctor after the fight I have with Dr. Mike if I get hit in the head at all. So I think it's important to fight your own doctor just in case you get head trauma. Right.
I also seen this week that Roy Jones Jr. is talking about fighting. He's looking for a celebrity right now. Don't be surprised if Anderson was to pull this off. They go back to that fight to see if there's anything there too.
You know what? Now I would put some weight on Roy Jones. I just don't know if he's quick enough. I think he's a slow lumbering guy. Now, it's skill for days, but there's something to be said about young and strong and big. We'll see.
Young, yeah,
he hasn't been hit. Jake Paul hasn't been hit yet, Andrew.
Exactly. I can't say he's strong until he fights a real boxer. And look, while the two MMA guys were strikers, they weren't boxers. That's why I'm leaning a little bit on giving him a credit for this victory. If he is to go in there and throw down with Silva and actually win it outright, you got to give him credit because, let's not be mistaken. Normal guys don't just beat up UFC legends. All right, that you don't just
and I don't. And I also think that Anderson Silva probably has too much class or too much background to. I'm not saying he couldn't take a dive for the right price. Everybody's got a price. To quote the $1 Million Man. Everybody, but it's true. It's true. However, if this is a legit fight and Jake Paul can knock down or stop Anderson Silva the way he's done with other people, and it looks legit, I mean, it would get really interesting. And isn't Jake the idiot who wanted to fight Mike Tyson? And Mike Tyson wouldn't take the fight for just fear of killing him?
I think, yes. And he's also said about stepping in the UFC. And if he knocks out Silva, I'm wondering if Dana White's going to have enough with this shit. Dana White.
Oh yeah, no, he'll just open it up. Who do you want in the UFC? Pick away, whatever. Would you like a light? I'd give him a lightweight. In fact, I'd give him one of the Diaz brothers. Jake Paul versus a Diaz brother. Either one.
When you're talking about young and strong, the UFC has a lot of young, strong guys over there. Yeah, Dana White needs to just start making that happen because that'll be his third UFC fighter and one that's pretty legendary,
He'd get Jake Paul would be fighting at light heavyweight, right? 205. Those guys would wreck him in a cage.
That's
wreck
good.
him.
Hey, well, it would have to happen because if he knocks out Silva, that's going to be his third knockout on a UFC fighter. And, as much as you want to talk about how grappling changes everything, a lot of those UFC guys still think they can punch and they're getting knocked out. So I think everyone is going to be fed up with this shit. And I've been fed up with it. I wouldn't mind. Look, Jake Paul knocks out Silva. Throw 20 million at him, get him in the octagon. Let's go. Let's do it. And not that he's a boxer, but I'm tired of seeing the UFC coming over to boxing. Let's get some guys that want to go into the cage. And don't tell me it's because they don't want to. It's because Dana White's not paying. I have not heard
it's because Dana White's not paying. But
it's because he's not paying. Yeah, because I haven't heard him one time offer any millions of dollars to any of these crossover fighters or celebrities to get them in the octagon. And I think it's because they know what they're dealing with. It's a very risky fight with not a lot of reward. There's a lot of people that already know the UFC. Agreed. They've seen it. They felt it. You're either a fan or you're not at this point. I don't see them gaining momentum from beating Jake Paul. But it's something that might have to be done because this is going to be his third guy.
Yep, I completely. It will be very interesting to see how this day turns out for a few of these people. So that's Glendale, Arizona. That's London, England.
Where are you betting? I'm serious. Where would you put your money on that fight?
I'd put it on Jake Paul just because I don't have a choice, Andrew. I never go against a guy, one, who looks like he's paid everybody off to get here, right? Number two, he is bigger and stronger than Anderson Silva. I don't think if Jake Paul's anything like me, I don't think I'd put myself into a fight I didn't think I could win. For sure. I mean, I take really stupid calculated risks. But at the end of the day, I felt pretty comfortable in every situation I put myself into.
I love you compare yourself to Anderson Silva. You're awesome, Lee.
I'm not comparing myself to Anderson Silva. I'm comparing myself to Jake Paul, which I get. I get the ego on Jake Paul. I think he's comfortable in that ring. I'm nowhere near Anderson Silva.
I know. I was like,
Jesus Christ.
laugh with you.
Come back to earth here, kids. Look, we're talking about the guy who arguably the UFC was quoting as one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time for a period of time, right? It ultimately became GSP because GSP is just a freak of fucking nature. And I wouldn't be surprised if GSP came out after this fight, took Jake Paul, took up boxing because he was trained by Freddie Roach, right? Get back into one fight with Jake Paul. I'd be all about I'd jump on the GSP train because the guy's a freak of nature. I don't think he'd take a dive. I think he has lots of money. But I think that about Anderson Silva, and I think he has boxing skills. With that said,
Southpaw. He's also a Southpaw, Lee.
Yeah, that really screws things up too. I just get his ego. I think he goes into these fights knowing full well that everything is in his favor. If it goes to the scorecards, I'm winning. If it gets close, the ref's going to stop it. If I can't control those elements, I would control the other fighter and fix it. I just would. Sorry to disappoint all my fans who think that I would fight legit. Win if you must, lose if you must, but cheat, always cheat. Somehow Jake Paul's cheating the system. However, interestingly enough, Andrew, if we watch the beginning of Deontay's career, his first 3 to 5 fights, they're against nobodies, right? Jake Paul could fight real pro nobodies. Just nobody would pay to see it, okay? Instead, he's beating up semi-famous people who seem to have aspirations of boxing. So, I mean, if he goes 20-0 against fighting this level, right, of competition, maybe moving it up to, I don't know, like a Fury brother or
No, I think someone like Gabe. How old? I thought he's a cruiserweight. He's not a heavyweight.
He's a cruiserweight.
And he's gonna fight someone smaller. You know, so you're looking at light heavyweight, maybe even super middleweight.
You could talk light heavyweight. You could probably drop it. He could get his ass down to 185, but he's cruising at 205. And
I would take someone, if he wanted to step into boxing, I would take someone like Gabe Rosado, man. That guy is very popular.
Oh yeah, he'd stand right in front of him. It would be unreal. It would be unreal to watch.
But he also
can fight. I'd want to see, if I were training him, I'd want to see 10 or 15 fights before he got to a Gabe Rosado level. He's not at that level. He's fighting guys that are not boxing.
But I was just picking Rosado because he has a lot of defeats. He's known, and I mean, shit. At this point, this kid has been.
Gabe would take and by the way, Gabe would take $1 million to hit the mat.
He would definitely, yes.
I think he can get him cheaper than that, actually.
Yeah, I do too.
No offense to Gabe Rosado.
No, total offense.
Burn through all your money. I'm sure you've burned through all that money, and you seem like a douchebag. So yeah, why not?
Tattoos for everyone.
I'm just passing them all out today. So we've done London, we've done Glendale, Arizona. Let's bounce over to San Diego, California, of course, because I moved out of there. William Jojo Diaz Joseph. Sorry, let me try that again. Joseph Jojo Diaz Jr. taking on William Zepeda on DAZN.
No. That's Prograis versus Zepeda. Diaz is probably on the undercard.
No, it's the way that ESPN has it written. Is it Prograis versus Zepeda?
Yeah, remember that's the.
I'm telling you right now I look at ESPN.
Maybe. What's the first name on Zepeda?
Zepeda is William Zepeda.
Okay, the one that's fighting Prograis is Jose Zepeda.
Yeah.
All right.
When is Jose Zepeda?
I thought it was tomorrow.
No, it's not on the list. Not on the list.
Nah. Well, go on with yours then.
All right. In San Diego, California, William Zepeda, 12-round lightweight bout against Joseph Jojo Diaz Jr. I didn't even know Joseph Diaz Jr. was still bouncing around, Andrew.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know how super this one is.
This feels like an Oscar card that got lost. I don't even know what this is. This is like a bad Golden Boy card that we owed to like JoJo.
He's coming off of the defeat to Haney. Remember, Diaz just lost to Haney, so Cepeda, not a bad opponent. 26 victories, 0 losses, 23 knockouts. So the guy's definitely, he's from Mexico, hard hitter, undefeated. This could be a passing of the guard here.
I just don't understand this fight. I get why it's in San Diego. I'm sure it'll do well, right, for Cepeda. I'm totally down with that. I'm just wondering who's promoting this. Like, I don't.
I'm going to tell you, it feels to me like a cash out on Diaz. Look, they either they squeeze one more fight out of him, or this 26-0 kid that someone brought over from Mexico is going to be the real deal.
It's taking his place.
Yeah. Yep. It definitely has that feel.
Oh, he's Golden Boy. This is a Golden Boy execution. There we go. Oscar is doing somebody must leave boxing match.
Someone talked into this one. This is I got a guy. I got a guy. You got to see my guy.
I got a guy. Let's see if Golden Boy actually has a card for this. This is their first time down there, as far as I know. They haven't put on a fight card in San Diego yet. So let's see what they've got going on the front page. Oh yeah, it's right on the front page. Let's see. What's your fight card? Show me this fight card. They only have one fight listed on their page.
Shit.
So apparently you're just going down to San Diego to I assume it's at the arena.
Pechanga.
Is it at Pechanga?
Yeah, the Pechanga.
Golden Boy. No, it's Pechanga Arena, which used to be San Diego Sports Arena. It's name change. Pechanga has the naming rights for San Diego Sports Arena. You know, the place we went to, the place we did all our antics at. Yeah, and they want real money for these seats, Andrew. Like
this could be on Showtime.
The crappy seats are $25, and you can only get into the lower bowl for about $200. There is nothing else listed fight-wise.
Like BoxingRec.com, Lee. They rated the guys. They have their rankings. The co-main event ranked number 17 is taking on ranked number 5. In the third fight of the night, 101 versus 163.
Well, okay. I don't even know okay, so first of all, this thing starts at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go out on a limb that DAZN's not going to start until 5 or 6 o'clock West Coast time. So let's say you've got 3 hours of fights you have not listed. What is he going? Oh my God. I want to watch the entire fight card just to see what kind of shit he puts on. What are we dragging out of the Oscar De La Hoya well of fighters? Or who's left? There is nothing. I honestly have never seen a fight at an arena without a fight card like this.
There's a fight card, Lee. There's nobody of any name to mention here. They have some guy that's ranked 400. I didn't even know they had that many.
I didn't know that. I'm sure there's at least 400 fighters. I would imagine in that weight division, but
that they rank them though. Like, hey man, you're number 400.
Do they rank
now?
No, I bet you rank the top 500. Sure, there's somebody who probably goes to that extreme. Why not? Hopefully, Miguel comes over for Super Fight Saturday and regale me in tales, stories of how he shot out his eye with his spooge. Because basically the day of boxing looks really bad. I mean, okay, so 2:00 on the San Diego, you got probably 9:00 on the DAZN London card with nobody on that fight card. Arizona will probably start around 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock. They claim they're only going to do 4 fights. Maybe they're smart in just doing these 4 fights and starting at 5 or 6, which takes us to what the hell they're doing in New York. Joining us on the show, and I'm shooting video, Top Rank Bob. Top Rank Bob, what would you like to... Lomachenko's fighting this weekend. If you haven't seen our promotion, we're doing a whole 4th of July theme. Lomachenko takes Manhattan. It's based on one of those fucking slasher movies. I don't watch that shit. Whatever. It's like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Broadway or whatever the fuck it is. But yeah, my kids like it. It's getting harder, Andrew. We're getting to a point the Top Rank Bob is going to die on the show. Listen, don't sleep on this Ortiz fellow. We went after a very difficult fight for Vasily. He is a top draw. Ignore his loss, or the fact that we can't get him rematched with anybody, or that nobody wants to fight him, and he continues to only dominate people outside the top 10. Okay, so you're saying that he won't fight anybody in the top 10, or he's not going to get a title shot with anybody in the... Listen, I'm just saying people are avoiding him. Or do people beat him at that level? Potato. It's all about the same. All right, Andrew. The Vasily Lomachenko experiment. He is now, 40 years old at this point. He doesn't have a belt. He doesn't have a country. He doesn't have anything really going for him other than this unique, insane style that seems to be very viewer friendly. What will I learn when he fights Hermine Ortiz?
Well, we're going to learn if he's actually going to get the Devin Haney fight or not. I believe that's where they're going to go after this one. Was it Haney or Shakur? You know what? It might be Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, I think they're both top ranked. I think it's going to be Shakur. That's basically all we're learning here. Look, this kid Ortiz, he's undefeated. Doesn't have a lot of power. He went 10 rounds with Jamal Herring. And while Jamal Herring's a decent name on his record, that's no Vasily Lomachenko, right? So it's not like you look at the Jamal Herring fight and go, man, this guy has a shot here. I remember Herring looked really old that night, too, when he took that defeat. So, you know, the kid's undefeated. He's got the height. He has the reach. I don't know about his boxing ability compared to Vasily Lomachenko. So I gotta stick with Lomachenko until I see him lose to a dud or to a lesser opponent. Right now, his only defeat is to Teofimo Lopez, who's a damn good fighter. This kid Ortiz, this is his moment to shine. He needs to step up, but I can't bet on him, not just yet. I'm going to lean heavy on Lomachenko to take this fight.
Listen, also on the fight card is Nico Ali Walsh. You know, the white kid we made black.
We stop. Oh yeah. He got blacker. He got blacker.
In fact, he will be joining Black Boxing Promotion here shortly. BLK, not Black.
God, it's so terrible, dude. It's bad what they did there. Because you know what, we talk shit, but it's absolutely true. When they go back and look at the photos of when he came in and where he's at today,
of course they did, right down to the dreadlocks. He looked like a skateboarder. He looked like a goddamn skateboarder when they started him. And I think he only had like 6 months of boxing training before they started sticking his ass in the ring. I don't know how slow you can bring this kid up. Certainly he's never going to be a heavyweight. I mean, he's going to be a middleweight, maybe a light heavyweight, but he doesn't have the frame to be a full-blown heavyweight, which is what they're all salivating. Could we get...
No, you see, his dad's smaller than the mom. He's no way he's going to be a heavyweight.
You mean the guy they never show on camera, the white guy?
Or the Walsh, Actually,
the Walsh of the Ali Walsh, They never show him on purpose. They try so hard to hide him. It's ridiculous. He's like a short little guy. She went safe, man. I don't know who she dated before this Walsh dude, but
she got fed up.
She went safe. I went with the little accountant guy. He's safe. No, he doesn't satisfy me in bed, but he produced a child. He shot some swimmers. Good for him. He doesn't request a lot in bed. It's pretty vanilla.
Yeah.
My vibrator does all the work at home. Spoken like somebody who went safe. There is nothing else on this fight card. You would think you could dominate and steal all of this. Bob could have literally have stacked a card here and gotten everybody who didn't want to pay for pay-per-view, who would have been burned out by this godforsaken Katie Taylor 9 o'clock in the morning thing, because that's the only fight on that card. You sure as hell aren't going to watch anything.
Nobody in America watches DAZN.
Diaz versus Zepeda, right? So Bob could have literally have stolen this with a halfway decent card. Instead, we're getting Robeisy Ramirez versus Jose Matias Romero at featherweight. That'll go the distance and probably be workmanlike, Andrew. I'm going to go out on a limb. A heavyweight by the name of Richard Torres Jr.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, he's been building him. That's another fight. That's another heavyweight he's been building. He has a little porno mustache. You remember him? He got the little afro. Yeah. Knocked out the Mexican the other time. The Mexican looked like he came right out of a cab, walked right in, and got knocked out. So
I just have fighters with great names on this card. There's a guy named Tiger Johnson fighting. I don't know who he is, but if this dude winds up being a stud, you've got literally the most marketable name ever in boxing.
An adult film. Oh, okay. In boxing.
Tiger Johnson. Yeah. Well, also Duke Reagan. It does sound like a porn movie, doesn't it? Starring Tiger Johnson and Duke Reagan.
Let's see if they don't want to be in a dark room with that.
Listen to this one. Troy Isley. These are great porn names, man. Haven Brady, and introducing Haven Brady Jr. in his first appearance. Oh my God, this is a porn card. Bob, is this listen, I don't watch porn, or at least I don't admit to watching porn. I'm afraid when the pills work.
Dang, he's watching ladies that are his great grandmas now.
Oh, so great.
He's watching
the names on some of these fighters. Haven Brady Jr., Troy Isley, Tiger Johnson, and Duke Reagan. Star in Men on Men, Greasy Men's Sex, Gone Boxing. It does sound like a porn movie. Well, as I take a sip of coffee, I'm drinking coffee way too late, which means I'll be peeing way into the night. That's what happens when you get old. That's the for real part of getting old.
Too much coffee, peeing all night.
Can't drink coffee after 5 o'clock when you are above the age of 50. I'm just calling it for the road. That's not a good call, because apparently, your liver and kidney functions start to go at about 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning, and that is the witching hour for me, man. That's when my body starts to detox the daily stuff I put in on top of being keto. But I digress. That was really good information for all of you. Andrew, is there anything you'd like to add about this weekend Super Saturday card other than can we just watch the main events and put them all on one card and get it over with in like 3 hours? No, you have to watch all of them.
Yeah,
and be
right.
Incredibly bored all day and have it going in the background. I'm assuming while I watch Major League Soccer or college football, probably college football in the background, but
platform after plat. We gotta go DAZN, Showtime.
This is wacky. Okay, so no, here's the batting order. You would start with the London card, right? That's DAZN. In the morning, DAZN. Then San Diego, DAZN again in the early afternoon, evening, at the same time as Showtime pay-per-view, which will be about 4 or 5 o'clock. And pay-per-view for New York starts at 6 o'clock, so 10 or 11. And I'm sure they're going to try to jam at least 2 or 3 fights on before. I don't know how. I would never fight New York. They start those fights at like 9 o'clock at night, Andrew. It's crazy to me. It really is. The main events don't go off till 11 or 12 o'clock.
Right.
I just, how do guys fight New York? And they still call it the Mecca. It's not the Mecca. I don't want to fight at midnight. I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. I don't want somebody punching me in the face at midnight. Unless there's drinking involved in the fight. And now it's just entertaining, I think, if we turned it into a barroom brawl. But yeah, that's the order. It's DAZN Showtime, then ESPN Plus, sort of in that order, more or less. That's it's a full day of boxing though. That's a veritable. I can have it going on one of the screens, I suppose, all day and do something else, like I don't know, pick my ass, based on the number of tubbas that are fighting this weekend. But it's some ghastly number. It's like you could theoretically watch 20 or 30 fights on Saturday easily watch that many fights.
Did you hear about the pay-per-view?
Which one?
Wilder's.
No. Should we save it for Sunday, or am I gonna not be surprised by the number? Go ahead. Give us a teaser for Sunday.
You know, they made the revenue. I'll give you the revenue. 5 million, they're saying. And
5 million is the revenue.
Yep, total.
Total. That includes the gate.
No, just pay-per-view, but all platforms, everything.
Oh, all platforms, and they were charging close to a. Yeah, that's not good. I don't have my. Good. I don't have my calculator in front of me, but that would be the lowest numbers on a pay-per-view this year. Period.
Yeah, you know what? For the money that Deontay's supposed to be making, Lee, this is a man who skipped on $150 million. Threw that contract out, is now fighting for the PBC and only generating $5 million on his pay-per-view. How fucking sad. And that's before they take their share. Remember, they haven't even split it yet. That's just $5 million is what they got to split from. Deontay's not even paid yet.
Good Lord.
I keep saying it. Al Heyman don't know what he is doing. That is one of the biggest jokes that they've ever fucking made over there, was saying that he was the one who built Floyd's career. And it's actually, it's an embarrassment that Floyd did that to Bob Arum and to De La Hoya. I've told you guys this for years. It was those two men that made Floyd Mayweather who he is. Al Heyman didn't do shit, because Al Heyman hasn't done shit before Floyd Mayweather, and Al Heyman hasn't done shit after Floyd Mayweather. Deontay Wilder's career should have been a lot better than what it is. His 3 big fights with fucking Fury. So what? He should have fought Joshua, then Fury, because as we see now, he probably knocks Joshua out in 6 fucking minutes. Seriously. I don't think Joshua lasts one of those right hands, Lee. You think Joshua can take one of those punches off his chin? I don't. I really don't. I think Deontay has showed more heart and more mental strength than Joshua ever has in those 3 fights with Tyson Fury, just getting beat down and getting up until he was put down for good. Joshua would never put out that type of fight. It's 5 million. I feel, Deontay, I would be looking other places to continue my career. Seriously, he can go to DAZN. He can go over
you would call Matchroom. I mean, the safest place for him to go would be Matchroom if Eddie would take him.
Yeah, because he can go over there and fight all of those guys and make they all know him over there. He's still Deontay Wilder. A lot of
money in Europe. He would make a ton of money fighting all those guys in Europe.
Leave the PBC, man. This thing is fucking dead. They couldn't make Spence versus Crawford, people. They couldn't make it. They couldn't make Crawford versus Spence versus Pacquiao. They couldn't do it. And now you're telling me that Deontay Wilder on his fucking comeback fight for who the hell suggested pay-per-view if you're only going to make 5 million? Couldn't you got that out of Showtime?
Yeah, you could have gotten that out of Fox for a Saturday night fight. Easy. 5 million. You would have gotten double that number just selling ad time for that on prime time. And you would have had millions of eyes on the product for that fight.
I guess his kingdom ain't that big, huh? The king is back, but it's a very small kingdom he runs.
Well, and now they're talking, everybody's talking about him fighting, the next logical step, which is Andy Ruiz, which is...
I pull out. I don't do that fighting. No. Lee, Andy Ruiz is not that popular. Listen, I was going off of that fight because I thought Deontay Wilder brought more to look, you can't even say that's an off night. 5 million, no heavyweight. Fuck the little guys. We're talking about heavyweight boxing.
No, Dillian White Draw is bigger than that.
Dude, that is like
Here's insulting. Tyson Fury versus an already beat multiple time Derek Chisora. If it were a pay-per-view,
yep,
in England, will generate more than $5 million in pay-per-view money. No question. Tyson, and they're not going to do it that way. What they'll do is they'll put it on ESPN Plus, and they'll get a bunch of eyes on it. They'll sell the advertising and make whatever they can make, and build it up to a mega fight, which is what you're supposed to do.
He could fight Ian White. He could fight Chisora. He could fight AJ. I'm leaving the PBC. Yesterday, I would have left.
I mean, Usyk is obviously tied up with. I now understand what's going on with Tyson Fury wanting a tune-up fight before he fights Usyk. Right? That's fine. And they're negotiating the Usyk fight right now for March. Yep. Right. I got that, so you give him a tune-up against an easy opponent that's a like opponent. He goes in there and he knocks Chisora out easily, and gets ready, and goes right back into the gym for, I mean, arguably $100 million fight.
Yep.
And everybody's just standing around. The big news today was, guess what? Deontay Wilder's #1 in Ring Magazine today named Deontay the #1 heavyweight to fight. Well, that's great, but you've got 2 champions, and those 2 champions are going to fight, and one of them's already beat that guy 3 times. So what, you got to hope that Usyk wins because that puts that fight together, because Tyson Fury's not fighting him for a 4th time.
No.
Nobody's
especially
paying
the
for
way
that.
Deontay ended that last fight. Remember, wasn't there a lot? Remember, wasn't he acting stupid again at the end of the 3rd one where Tyson got kind of fed up with it?
Yeah.
He kept making excuses or some shit again, even on this last knockout.
Honestly, Deontay Wilder, let's say that Tyson Fury beats Usyk. Deontay Wilder would have to beat everybody in the top 10. And even then, I don't think Tyson Fury would take a 4th fight unless it was some ridiculous guaranteed amount of money.
Yeah, no, I don't see. I think Deontay's there to fight a few more times. He's a good name. There's some good people out there that would make interesting pay-per-views. I think the PBC's dead. The PBC's pay-per-view platform or whatever they were trying to get started in this whole it's going nowhere. All the Spence fights, we talk about Crawford. I don't remember anyone ever talking about Spence Ugas, Spence versus Mikey Garcia. None of these fights were big. The Keith Thurman fight, none of these fights were big, man. So the PBC just looks like they're a little bit lost right now. This is a total embarrassment.
They ruined the welterweight division. They
ruined Crawford Spence. They've
ruined every division that they've touched. Every division that they've tried to work in, they've ruined it. They tried to keep it in-house too. They signed
Manny Pacquiao only to get him to lose to Ugas.
I would have fixed that fight all day long. God, I would have fixed that fight all day long. That wouldn't have even been a debate. That's how quick I would have fixed that fight.
I'm still gonna say I thought Manny fucking beat the shit out of Ugas. I don't care. I really thought Manny won that fight.
No, it's what we suspected, right? It was his last fight on that contract. They're going to take that belt right off his ass.
Yep.
I just still think that the big money was still on Pacquiao. I would have done a 1-fight extension with him. I'd have kept that belt on him and then put it on Errol. Idiot.
Al Heyman already seen the guy wasn't dumb. He knew that his company wasn't going to be able to afford Manny's pay-per-view costs. Whatever Manny was going to charge to fight Spence, Top Rank would have doubled that to have him fight Josh Taylor. As soon as Manny Pacquiao said he was interested in fighting Josh Taylor in the UK, Al Heyman had nothing else he could do but give those belts to Ugas. All you have to do is stand up. I don't give a fuck if both your eyes are shut, your nose is broken, you're bleeding, and you're going to win this fight.
You're going to win this fight. Just don't get knocked out. I mean, you got to respect that on some level. I mean, promotionally speaking, it's very impressive, I suppose.
All the Tank Davis pay-per-views, what do they always come back with? Oh, his live gate. He sells the most ticket. Wait, he's on pay-per-view, bro. What are those doing? It's dead.
It's time for everybody to start fighting somebody. You know what? After spending 2 weeks ago, the last Super Saturday, watching a full day where I've got 5 screens up watching boxing, going into another Saturday where I'm gonna try to sit through 20 or 30 fights on purpose. And once again, I'm gonna be disappointed. I watched the UFC card last weekend from start to finish. While every fight wasn't great, the bulk of it was at least entertaining. I mean, they seem to want to match people up constantly that are in the top 10. If you're going to own the division, Al Heyman, match them up for God's sakes. Pull, you seem to want to do the boxing version of the UFC, but what makes the UFC work? He will make number 2 fight number 3 to see who becomes the new number 1. Al Heyman doesn't do that. He doesn't want their O's to go.
Yeah, he was trying to build a Floyd. And I'm telling you, the whole that money's gone. The $750 million or whatever he got in that scam that he pulled on all those investors, their money's gone. So now they're out there trying to find their way on pay-per-view, and they keep coming with these bullshit stories about how they sell great tickets, and then the numbers are good. They're approximately this, but they don't give any for sure numbers ever. No proof coming out of the PBC on what they put down. And it's this one. This is supposed to be their cash cow, man. Deontay Wilder was a $40 million fighter. What, a $25 million fighter? I would say at least when he fought Fury. I think he made like what, $12 million when he fought the guy that he knocked out in one round. Oh, why is it leaving me? Right after Tyson Fury, he fights one of the guys from the PBC, tall black guy. He knocks out. Damn it, I forgot his name.
No,
oh well,
PBC stable. But yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he got paid big though, Lee. This was big money. This guy was in the at least the talks of one of the highest paid boxers in the sport. To be where he is right now, no way. That's I would look elsewhere. You know what? Hats off to Adrian Broner. He got smart. He's moving on. He's probably going to get the fight with Terrence Crawford. They're saying he signed for 8 figures. We'll see if he actually makes it. I'm telling you right now, Lee.
I've read the reports too, and we'll break it down. I'm going to do an entire segment on Sunday on Black Promotion.
All right. But I don't care about who they are. If they can put that fight together, do not be surprised if fucking Broner versus Crawford is a mega sell. Don't be surprised.
Oh, no, I know it will be because...
Right? Look, he's the most viewed fighter probably in America.
Broner is a car crash. Yeah, there's a reason you sign him for, let's just say it is $10 million, right? Like he really did get a $10 million payday or some... And it wouldn't be much more. It would be really if it's that many figures, right? It's 10 million.
And all incentives. Yeah, a lot of incentives probably with pay-per-view.
Right. You're doing it to go feed him big fighters, right? And you're going to squeeze as many fighters into him as possible because the guy's a complete lunatic, right? He will show up, not take his meds. He'll go rob a liquor store on the way to the press conference. He'll, beat some chick up who's standing outside cheering for the other. He'll do all kinds of crazy crap and sell the fight. They'll make all their money back on him. He is a cash cow. Look, I don't know why they haven't made an offer to Chavez Jr. unless they've got him locked up in a rehab. He fits their business model perfectly.
Well, no, but they got to have someone
and they hired me.
Lee, Broner is going to be fed to Crawford. That's why Broner's there. He's going to get 1 warm-up fight, maybe 2. But the end game for he already said it, bro. Here, I'm going to be in the ring December 10th when Crawford and this David Asanas or whatever fights.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, the cab driver popped.
Yes. He beat Shane Mosley. Wait a minute. He beat Mosley like at maybe 45. I don't know how old Shane was. But he beat Mosley.
Yeah. We'll get right on that.
Does this one sell?
For sure.
Has this one sell? He's beaten former pound for pound star Sugar Shane. Does that one sell?
No.
Oh, fuck. They should announce that when they introduce him against Crawford. He beat former pound for pound champ Sugar Shane Mosley. Let's go.
He is the man who beat the former pound for pound. Oh my God, it doesn't even sound good coming out of my mouth. Like I couldn't even as Bruce Buffer make that work. Like, no, it just there's nothing about that.
No titles, just one fight.
He had one great fight right here, right now. He is somebody you will forget next week. Yeah, not a good look for Crawford. But again, nobody wants to be the L on Crawford's record. In Crawford's case, I do believe people are ducking him. I don't think anybody's ducking Spence. I think everybody knows that Spence is broken and damaged goods. Yep. He's been broken and damaged goods since that car accident, and they've just been looking for one big payday. And looky, Manny Pacquiao is starting to sniff around again. So I'm not real shocked by it.
And I'll never forget when they asked Spence, "What do you want next?" "Oh, I just want to ride my horses, around my farm. I got cows." He never wanted it. He never wanted it. If he ever wanted to be great, there was a two-time undisputed champ, pound for pound ranked fighter who went to his division and defeated the man that had beat Manny Pacquiao. He was there. His greatness was sitting right there. There is Terrence Crawford, man. Go get your greatness. And he never wanted it. 7 years ago.
Well, here's the best part of not actually taking a fight against somebody at that level, Andrew. You can speculate that you'll always win. You know the best part of not having... Here's the best part of me never fighting Mike Tyson. I can speculate until my head explodes that I can beat Mike Tyson as long as I don't fight Mike Tyson.
Whenever you argue about Spence and Crawford, the Crawford guys always need to let them remember the night he beat Jeff Horn, the guy that had beaten Pacquiao, ESPN had him ranked over Lomachenko as the pound for pound fighter. Spence never wanted it, man. His greatness was sitting right there for 7 fucking years, and he's still bitching out today with this whole, "Oh, you see, he doesn't want to fight me. You see, he doesn't." Dude, if you guys really wanted it, to me, when they announced that Crawford took the lesser money, you're the guy that didn't want it. I'm sorry. He already bit.
Actually,
this is
the reports I was reading today, Crawford said, "I said yes to everything."
He said yes to the lesser check. He's the pound for pound champ.
Yep. He said, according to him, he claims, "I said yes to everything." He goes, "Spence doesn't want this fight. Or Spence's people don't want this fight. But either way, they don't want this fight."
They know he's blind. They know his jaw was broken. I don't know how his back.
Look, it again proves my theory that once you get hit hard for the first time, in his case, it was a car accident.
It was a car. It was a
hard. He's done. He's broken. The internal wiring is all messed up. I'll bet you he was sparring and someone tagged him and he had a mild concussion or saw stars like he never saw before because his brain has been banged around in his head. I would love to see how he's passing a CT scan. I would love to know how he's doing that, how he's getting approved for boxing credentials. Someone's got to run a CT on him. This dude's been in a fatal car accident.
Spence, don't you want to be rich? No, I just want my horses.
I want my horse. I'm good.
A farm.
I'm the best in the world.
I'm good.
Because nobody will fight me.
That's what he told Al Heyman as he got up. I'm good. Peace out. Let me know if Manny Pacquiao wants to fight. I'll take that fight. I'll take the 50-year-old.
I'll take the 50-year-old. Hey, I heard there's this dude on Fight Net Radio. I'll take that fight. That's an easy fight. You're right. Again, here's the thing, though. I don't know. We'd have to have the beer stand challenge with you, bro. And I think even the beer stand challenge might actually hurt him. He's real fragile. He's just really fragile. He was it takes years to get over an accident that's severe.
You mean flying out of a convertible at 160 miles an hour, Lee? You can't just walk away from that? Surprise.
Dude, I had COVID that wasn't anywhere near that, and it took a year for me to breathe right.
And what's even funnier is it's on tape. You could actually see him rolling on the street. Because I show him no sympathy because he was fucking drinking and driving.
Yes,
so fuck
of course.
him. He was rolling in the street, bro. Like, this is not good. This is not. Yeah, he's not fighting Crawford.
Yeah, I got insurance that'll cover that. Okay, bro. I'm just telling you, you were kind of a great boxer for like a hot second till you smashed your ass through a car.
And then he ran from it. They all ran from it.
No, I honestly, I really think that when they first got back into the gym, he got popped a couple of times in sparring, and I suspect, based on the CT and the trauma from the car accident, he was seeing stars too quickly. He was getting hurt.
Yeah.
It's how it is for me now. Very minor things will give me the quick flashes and the concussion shit. And I mean really minor stuff that I used to just sort of laugh off. So, and I haven't gone through near the amount of punishment he's gone through. I am 1/100th of the punishment he's gone through, and I know what my CT looks like from all the stupid shit I've done. His has got to, it's got to be insane. Like, I don't know how he's approved for a boxing license. That Al Heyman, that wacky guy. Hey, tune in this Sunday to Fight Net Radio. We will make sure you guys have a show out Sunday night. We'll get together on Sunday morning and talk about everything that happened on Saturday night. Did you follow all that? We record on Sunday morning about what we saw on Saturday, and then we get it out Sunday night. Do you want me to say that one more time slower? New show on Sunday night. Go to boxingtonight.io. You can also hit up our Facebook page at fight.net.radio. Andrew and I post stuff on there constantly. Hopefully I can get Miguel over here so I can download those interviews I did, or at least some of the interviews I did, and get you guys some brand new get to know your fight person. Those are all very interesting that happened during a heat stroke. So they should be entertaining at the very least. And we'll get those hopefully out next week. And hopefully Miguel joins us. Certainly I'm trying to get him here on Saturday with his patch on his eye, which would be...
He has a patch on his eye. I don't know why he misses a phone call.
I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what his story is. I'm out of commission. You need two eyes to talk on a microphone? Like, you guys would never forgive me. Oh, why aren't we doing Fight Net Radio? Oh, I poked my eye.
Right.
What do you mean you poked your eye? I poked my eye. I'm out of commission, guys. I guarantee Andrew would be the first one. Dude, what are you talking about? Did they give you drugs for your eye or something and you can't like talk? Or like, I can already see us trying to negotiate this thing. Like,
he's chewing on his tongue somewhere.
Could you turn it on so that we could do the show? Like, I could see the angle. You guys would never. I'd have to be dead to not do this show. That's the only way this show will not go on the air. You guys have made me do it in blackout drunks. You've made me do it during heat strokes. I've done this show in so many different conditions that it doesn't even make sense anymore.
You were missing, Lee, and we went looking for you to find our show. We were like,
yeah, that's how you guys found me, right? I had the bad reaction to the drugs that put me in the hospital, and you went to my daughter looking for me to do the show, but hey, I think Lee's missing. Lee never misses the show. He must be in a hospital somewhere. Funny, that's how the phone on my hospital bed rang. That was pretty interesting to hear that. There you go. There's your update on everything. That guy's name is Andrew Labuschagne. My name is Lee Honish. We really do appreciate all of you listening to the show. Please sign up, click like, subscribe. If you're watching the video, click like, subscribe, share, whatever it is. If you listen to the audio that gets all the fun stuff, of course, share it with a friend. I'm working on expanding the product into the new year, well beyond our Egypt friends who have made the show #1. Hopefully we can expand on that for the coming year of 2023. Thanks everybody for listening.